and member of the public. It is Wednesday the 28th of January, and this is the Planning and Parks Committee. Apologies from Rob, long-standing prior commitment. So, can I have a second? I propose. All in favour? Good, thank you. Any declarations of interest?
Yes, Chairman, 14-1 as a near neighbour, though I don't know Mr and Mrs Cambridge at 8 Lonsdale Way, but I shall not be taking part in the proceedings and I will not vote.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, minutes. No doubt all read the minutes. Do you find it's a true record of the last meeting?
Yeah. Sorry, yes.
Proposed?
Proposed, yes.
Seconder? All in favour? I abstain. Yeah, I'll abstain as well. Oh.
Actually, can I just say, because I just voted on that, and actually I wasn't here. There was an absence. Apologies.
All right. Right, item 4. Councillors' questions. Have you got any councillors' questions?
Not been notified anymore.
Nobody's notified?
No.
Right, thank you. Members' reports? Joyce.
I'll take these off if I shout. If you talk to me, I need to put them back in again. I attended the parish forum meeting on Monday the 26th, as I always do, and can I point out that all members are invited to the parish forum, and so are the officers. There was a good representation from Oakham. I think there were 4 there. I find it very interesting because I can do a lot of work and do a lot of networking between villages. However, the agenda sort of covered a lot of things. For those who are interested, we had a health report by Tim Sachs on the National Health Service, East Leicestershire Rutland Clinical Commissioning Group. It was most interesting for me in particular because I've done that many years in the National Health Service, so I did actually query 1 or 2 things that were on the agenda. I was totally surprised, and it was lovely to hear Barry Briggs, the pest control and dog fouling officer, who is a very good speaker, and he explained it all to us, and it was really most interesting. I haven't got the details of what no, I haven't got any details about what Barry was talking about. Care Act Consultation and Awareness Rising by Lucy Stevenson. Well, that was interesting. One of the topics was reforming primary care, which I thought was fascinating, and they haven't got answers to it. The budget. It wandered off track a bit because we then went from the budget to discussing the fire station, and that was extremely interesting, and people should be aware of what went off. I am not going to say it here, but if anybody wants to discuss that after the meeting with me, I will tell them what went off. So I find it quite an interesting forum to belong to. Not every parish takes part, but it is a place where you can meet people from Ryle, from Cottesmore, and see how they're working with, for instance, the dog fouling. That was really quite amazing what came up there, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Joyce. Clerk's report?
No, there isn't one.
No clerk's report. Item 7, deputations. Okay. Right, we come to number 8. As you know, Leanne was vice chairman of this committee, and very sad she had to resign for health reasons from the council. So we need a new vice chairman.
Who's on this committee? A group?
No, it's
Oh, it's this committee. Sorry, I do beg your pardon. I thought you were talking about the group.
No, not yet. So,
Joyce is putting herself forward, I'll propose.
Sorry.
right,
If you put yourself forward, I'll propose it.
who's going to put their hand up?
I'll put my hand up.
I'm trained in planning,
Right.
so I don't have to go through it.
It's not for the planning subcommittee there, is it?
No, it's for vice chairman of this committee.
Right, okay, sorry.
Because that was Leanne's position. Right, we have one volunteer, John.
I want to. I'll second that.
Good. All in favour?
Of what?
Me volunteering.
I volunteered before John. I'm sorry, somebody asked me in that corner and I said yes.
Oh, sorry, I thought you...
Yes,
I thought you
that's
thought
what
it
I
was
said. I am trained in planning.
We've got 2 candidates.
We've got 2 candidates, so as Joyce put her hand up first, I think we would have... who would second Joyce?
I would second Joyce.
No, who's going to vote for Joyce first of all?
1, 2, 3. You can vote yourself.
Oh, sorry, do I vote for myself?
Yes.
Sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And for John?
Oh no, let's do this one first.
Who's next?
Yeah.
Sorry, let me finish that one. Okay.
No, 4, yeah, so
Yeah,
you've got
majority.
the 4, well, sorry, we've done, right, let's now go on to against.
Well, no, because it's 4-4, there's still 4 councillors that haven't voted,
Yeah,
so it's actually...
so-
Well, there
So,
might be an abstention.
yeah, so against.
Yeah, so... no,
What are we doing against now?
no.
There's 4 that have voted for
Joyce.
Joyce.
Any abstentions?
I'll abstain.
You voted for, didn't you?
Right. Well, we've got a proposal and seconder for John. So all in favour of John?
1, 2, 3, 4. So that means
Put a casting vote.
Yeah.
I'll, as I voted for John, then I'll my casting vote be for John. No, move forward.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you, Joyce, for volunteering.
Can you pass John's water? Yes, please, I'll do so.
Praise. Item 9, Joyce. Item 9, Joyce, over to you.
I've more or less said about the parish council forum working group. The members come from various villages and Oakham, and Oakham, and of course Exton Langham, Rutland County Council, Oakham Town Council is vacant because Maureen used to be on it, Clipsham. It's an interesting forum to be on. I think Oakham should be on it, and I would like to put myself forward as that to fill that vacancy. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other person want to put their name forward, volunteer? No? All in favour of Joyce? Unanimous. Thank you very much, Joyce.
Thank you.
Right, item 10. Road naming of the Oakham North development. Hopefully you've all read the paper and looked at the suggested names. Who would like to come up with any suggestions or choose a name?
Well, I like those sporting venues, and therefore I propose that we accept those.
So we've got to choose 4.
Oh, in that case, Henley, Lords, Wimbledon, and Murrayfield.
Joyce?
I'm sorry, I just think this is farcical. Have you ever heard of Wembley Way in Oakham?
I haven't chosen that.
It is put up, these names are put up to be knocked down. It goes on all over the country, so just let's get things into proportion. Now, Martin, what is it, Pocock, has said 4 names from First World War.
Yes.
Right? So I did a bit of research, as you would expect. So I rang the past president of Rutland Agricultural Show. If we hadn't got that piece of ground, which was the agricultural showground, which later became the polo ground, which later became the rugby ground, which is now, I'm sorry to bore you,
Not at all.
which is now transferred. This is our only opportunity at this time. I mean, Martin Pocock has said, Councillor Pocock, sorry, has suggested First World War names. Now that is going on for the next 4 years. This is our only chance of saying what our grand job the trustees of the Agricultural Society have done, and they have worked hard with this piece of ground. That is the history. I've totally lost a bit of paper that was going to give me the list of names, so bear with me while I just read out some names to you that might be of interest. Right, it will be in a different order because I don't know. But Lord Gainsborough was the instigator of the Rutland Agricultural Society. I don't think we've got a Gainsborough Road.
Well, we've got a Lord's Road.
Gainsborough Court.
We've got Gainsborough Court, but that's out at Cottesmore. We are talking Oakham. We have 2 brothers called Morley. They both farmed in Rutland. They both are still on the grounds maintenance at their tender age of 80 something. And one of them played for the rugby have Matthews, who was a JP. He was on the licensing magistrates, and he went to play on for Tigers and had a distinguished career with them before the days of professional rugby. Richard Watson was the vet. So was Gibson, the vet. Without these people as trustees, this ground would not be available. This ground would not, the Larkfleet would not be asking us for some names of roads. And I suggest that we just deliberate. We've got a Hanbury close, as you all know, and Joss Hanbury was another name that came up. But I really do think this is our only opportunity where we can actually give credit to those trustees.
Joyce, would you like to put 4 names forward there?
Because I haven't got the list with me,
I've put Gainsborough down, so it's...
Gainsborough, Morley, Matthews,
Hanbury.
Gibson, no, not Hanbury, you can't have Hanbury. Gibson, and Mike Reynolds was another vet. I know we only want 4 names, but I think we ought to perhaps give 6. And I can furnish...
Well, they've asked for 4, haven't they?
Yes, but if there's a collision between the names, then we need to give 6 so that they can... 2 spare, thank you. I can furnish the clerk with the names tomorrow as early and tell them why we should be doing this.
I think we can vote on it anyway tonight.
But yes, but I've done quite a bit of work, and I really do think this is an opportunity.
Splendid idea, Chairman. I think it makes cows as well as making it the agricultural society. I appreciate the ease of just saying, oh yes, that's fine, let's go for 4 of
I
these.
quite appreciate Morley because that's where I was born.
Yeah. The only one that has any relevance.
Can we have East Dulwich then, please?
Sorry?
Can we have East Dulwich? That's where I was born.
Well,
Sorry. I do
the
apologise.
only one in that list that
Sorry, I
makes
confused
sense.
you.
There's already an Aintree.
The only one that makes any sense is Twickenham. The rest of them have no relation to that ground whatsoever.
No.
that I know of.
Absolutely, yeah.
So very much in favour of what you suggested.
Okay. Any other thoughts, any other suggestions?
That's fine to me.
My only concern,
Or is it just, yeah, I mean,
yeah, my only concern was the Gainsborough.
Yes,
I understand.
Gainsborough Road is
We have, yeah.
a different LE number.
I accept that. I accept that, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, when somebody says Gainsborough, that's my only concern.
I really do think we should have Gainsborough in because
Well,
he was the
I've got
motivator.
4 down, 4 names that you've put forward, Joyce. Have you got 2 more?
Morley,
Gainsborough, Morley, Watson, Gibson, Matthews and Reynolds.
but I'll put them in order tomorrow, if that's all right with you. But I'm sure that they've put these names up for them to be knocked down, quite frankly. He's new to the area.
Right, well we need to sort of think about this seriously. We've got 6 names from Joyce. Are there any others? And obviously John's put names forward. Somebody else
I
want to say?
propose to go with the suggestions that Joyce has put. I do think that you need to consider carefully, although I recognise the relevance of the Gainsborough. But I do also appreciate that for the fire service and for the emergency services that could, even though there is some distance between them, set up some confusion in location. And if I was that person needing the emergency services,
Yeah. Okay.
that's the priority.
Would it be better than if we called it Lord Gainsborough?
Yes. Yes, it
Yeah.
would.
Or Earl Gainsborough,
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah.
title.
Give me something to write down because we're going to vote on it.
He's deceased, of course.
So,
Lord
what do we
Gainsborough,
want
RIP.
first?
Could we have the names again? So I'm confused.
Right.
It's either Lord or Earl Gainsborough, Morley, Matthews, Gibson, Watson and Reynolds. Now, can I suggest, they've asked me for 4 names, so can I suggest we vote on 4 and send in 2 spare?
Can we put
That's fine, then.
Watson after Morley, Matthew, Watson,
You've got that?
Richard Watson?
Right, what's that? Tell me your 4 in order.
Lord Gainsborough, Morley, Matthew and Watson, and put Reynolds and Gibson as backups.
Is everybody happy with that? Because I'm going to ask for a proposal.
I'll propose acceptance.
Second,
Yeah, I'll second that.
all in favour?
Unanimous.
Yes. Good. Joyce, thank you for that.
Okay,
That's 11 now. Alan, Princess Evan.
If we're going in order, Chair, then it's to appoint the members first, isn't it? So I'm not sure we want to lead on that.
Okay. Yes, appoint members. There are four members who have expressed an interest to form the working group to investigate Princess Avenue, which we discussed at the last council meeting. And those names are, I've got them written down, Joyce, Alan, Jane, Adam and myself. Is that 4? Is that 5? That's
Someone can be the chairman.
So I think, personally, I think 5 is enough.
Yeah, it's probably more than enough.
So-
But, you know, when you're having additional meetings for such events, often one person can't make it, so at least you've got that.
Yeah.
Right, so
You've got that comfort, haven't you, knowing you're going to have, you know, reasonable number of this.
Right, can I have a proposal then for...
I'll second.
Okay, all in favour? Thank you.
tomorrow is the meeting.
Yes, in case everybody didn't know, we're meeting tomorrow, 3 o'clock.
I'm sorry, Mr Chairman, I've just thought of something that I should have put on the parish forum. We're in Perda from the 30th of March.
Helen?
Right.
Yeah, you're not allowed to advertise yourself.
Conversations, Chair. Yes, the paper is just there as a discussion document, really. It begins saying it will have no less than 4 members. That was just to leave it open in case someone on it is not re-elected after May, or doesn't come up after May for some reasons. It's just a number rather than the actual people. I suppose it's worded a little technically, but that's the way it is. The opening part is that we want to be positive about it, but we also have to be accepting if at the end of the day it isn't feasible. We don't know if that could happen. And the second half of it, looking at the options that are there, just has options to move forward and to find an appropriate way, if there is an appropriate way. It's what I've been used to doing for the last 4 years in another place, but obviously happy to discuss what's written there, if anyone disagrees.
I fundamentally agree with what you've written. I do realise it's, you know, it's quite a big move and a big project for the council to consider, but it has been talked about for many, many years.
Yes.
Many council groups. So I think it's a chance to either move it forward, find that we can do it, or put it to bed and
Yes, I agree.
go with an original. So at the moment, we don't know which way that's going to go, but I think this lays the foundations for those discussions that can then go forward. Thank you.
Alf.
Yeah, one point which I'm concerned about, that's an option one where it describes minimal alterations. I wouldn't want minimal alterations to be done. I'd like the alterations required to be done. Minimal alterations is what? How are you going to define minimal?
Perhaps it should be worded to be appropriate.
Something like that, yeah. It's the word minimal, I think, is inappropriate, isn't it?
Appropriacy.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alf. Are we all happy with that?
Yeah.
I don't think we need to vote on that, do we? Because we can discuss, we can work with this tomorrow. All happy with that? Thank you. Item 12. Adam. Thank you.
Chairman, thank you. All it is from the last WW1 commemoration meeting that I went to, I alluded to the George Phillips plaque, which is currently a piece of square tin painted green with a gold horseshoe on it, on the building, on the church passage. Suggestion was put forward by a member of that group that it should be replaced with a more appropriate and up-to-date plaque in line with the heritage style round plaques. The WW1 commemoration committee does not have any funding to spend on anything like this. They rely on either money from Archer Councils or from RCC or from OTC. So I said I'll come to the council and say, would the council be prepared to pay for basically what amounts to a round aluminium plaque, which would be more appropriate to be placed on that building. And it's the cost that was given was £150, 200 tops. And it's as simple as that, really.
Sure.
Thank you, Adam.
Can I ask, is it going to have Oakham Town Council on, like the cottage? It would be nice for it to be uniform.
That wasn't discussed at the time, but I could certainly suggest that if the council are paying for it, that is one of the conditions
Yes.
of it. So that is in line with all the other ones, because it is part of this blue plaque scheme approach.
Yes.
So,
Will it be at eye level, do you know?
the idea is to locate it lower, because at the moment, unless you happen to have a step ladder in your purse, you can't really read it. So the idea is to bring it down so everybody can see it, so it'll be at a lower level.
Are these the plaques like the plaques you see at the blue
Yes. Yeah, there are
plaques that you see all over the country for various
Indeed, yeah.
commemorative people?
Yes, and every county, even though it's the heritage blue plaque scheme, there's also the green plaque scheme, the red plaque scheme.
Yeah.
So the colour is not sort of essential, and also each county, so for instance when Oakham Council did it, they would have set up their own scheme, and at the moment different counties set up their own schemes and then they do it. But there is like a national sort of centre where everybody can view these. The plan would also be that regardless of who supports this or pays for it, is that Rutland County Council and or the WW1 Commemoration Committee would be looking to promote this again, like for instance the television programme that was on recently showing George Phillips' car and the work that had gone off in Rutland. So that's right, it is, and that's why I've said that from a promotions working group budget this could cover, because it is promoting the town, the heritage of the town.
Personally, I think this is something worthy to support.
Chairman, can I just ask, why don't you have it done like the one on Hudson Cottage, in a heavier material?
They're going to. They will. The idea is to have it done on a thick, round, aluminium cast plaque, similar to that.
Yeah.
But the people that did that are different. These people that do this one here would be in Cambridgeshire near Peterborough. That's the firm that do it. So it would be in line with that round scheme.
And could we not have an unveiling from the Oakham Town Council?
I can't commit to that. I can only suggest it.
Yeah.
But the idea would be that there would be an unveiling, an appropriate unveiling, where everybody would leap on the bandwagon.
Well, we're paying.
We haven't decided yet.
I propose acceptance.
Yes, second?
Second,
Happy to second that.
Unless, nobody wants to say anything else about it.
The only other thing I was going to say, if people don't feel that it should be fully funded by Oakham Town Council, which aren't, it's not a massive amount of money, I just wondered whether it was something the memorial front would.
I would, in actual fact, I think Oakham Town Council should be the lead on this, because there are people queuing up to get recognition for this kind of activity.
Yes.
So anyway, health.
Yeah, I would hope the town council would fund this.
Yeah,
I think
in its
it's
entirety.
something we can do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Vince?
Can I just ask if there are future plans to do any other plaques or memorials? The reason being is that I think this is a fantastic opportunity that we actually have our stamp. We've got a chance to speak to these people in Cambridge. We put Oakham Town Council, we put the Horseshoe, we put our stamp on these, and then in future, when it's decided to place them further around town, then we have got a pattern that we can follow so that every plaque that we place is in the same vein, mentioning the town council, mentioning the historic value of Oakham.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah, the emphasis has been that anything like this is done, this one, in like with ones that have been done previously, is that it would become part of the heritage of the town. So when people come here, like the heritage leaflet takes people to different parts of the town, then future plaques would not be would be considered. So yeah,
more than happy to help with the design work.
Yeah. I think they'll have that covered.
Yeah.
Right, we've had a proposal, it's been seconded. All in favour? Okay.
I'll let them know.
Incidentally, Alan, I forgot to thank you for your report. I do apologise. Number 13, sorry, you're number 13, Jane.
13A.
It's the way my life goes. Okay, just a brief paper. Wherever that happens to be.
Came in the post.
It is there somewhere, isn't it? I can't find it. Not to worry. I will speak off the top of my head. Thank you. It was proposed that we review the grant application process and basically make it a simpler process. We have a limited amount of money. We have a pot of £8,000 that has already been agreed and is set for the forthcoming year. And traditionally we've invited applications from people who small companies, not small companies, small organisations who need some support to develop their projects. The problem being that those applications go out, they come in and it's all sort of a mad rush and we all have to decide by the 31st of March and then the funds are allocated. What we're proposing, or what I'm proposing, is that we just simplify that grant process. We make it into a more annual, not an annual, more throughout the year opportunity. I'm sure many of you, I know people have mentioned to me who are perhaps part of small sports groups who said they're desperately short of money and it's September. And you say, are you aware that there are grants available through Oakham Town Council? And they'll go, either they don't know about it, or B, it's September, they've got to wait till the next March before an application can put in, because we allocate it all in one go. I do appreciate that obviously it adds a slightly more complex management process to it, and we would have to keep a tight rein on who receives the money and make sure it's monitored properly. I'm just proposing that we spread it out throughout the year so people can apply as and when their needs are. But in order to do that, we needed to look at the guidelines, and once you read the guidelines, you realise that to actually make it spread out through a year, the previous guidelines didn't really fit with that application. So what you received a sort of revised form, But in actual fact, I've now had a bit of a chat and I've thought about it a bit more since, and I've actually tried to simplify it even more. So what I am proposing is, with everybody's consideration, is that number one is no one application will receive more than £1,000, so that we've then got a maximum pocket of 8 £1,000 amounts to allocate to people if they wish to approach us for that. Obviously it won't go over the £8,000, that's already set. Number two is about capital projects. Well, it's very unlikely that anybody's going to be entering into a capital project with over £1,000 or maximum of £2,000. So that didn't seem a very relevant section to me, so I've taken that out. Priority, which is number three, where we've listed lots of things here previously about provision of facilities, activities for the young, the elderly, disabled, disadvantaged people. I think we could just simplify that into, benefit to the people of the parish of Oakham.
Yes.
So it needs to be within this parish. I'm not saying they can do anything, they would still need to come to us and talk about their project and get approval from us. But we're probably being a little bit stipulating what people can do within that list. Applicants, then number four, I've also taken out, applicants should be accompanied where possible with a recent statement of accounts. Again, I think we have said that we do recognise that that's not always a reasonable thing to be asking. It may be that somebody like the Scouts are going to come and they will have accounts and things that they want to us. But it may be a small group that are just wanting to do something, an activity maybe within town, maybe they want to put on a concert or whatever that we might want to support. So they wouldn't necessarily have a history of accounts to go by. Of course we'd have to be a little bit trusting of people there, but I think we could just support a wider range of people. But they're not, I think the one that they're not a contribution to general running costs, I think is a reasonable to stay in. Applications must have a clear purpose. And then what we would want to do is we would want to see, obviously, receipts for money spent based on the money that we've given to them. And also, I personally think that we should invite these people back at the end of the year to talk about what they've spent the money on and what's gone well for them, what's not gone so well for them, has it been beneficial to the town. Not every project is going to be successful, but hopefully we can get a theme then of how our grants are being spent and how our £8,000 has been used most effectively. So my proposal is that we have statement number one there, but reduce that 2,000 to 1,000, take out 2 and 3 and 4, and then we will have numbers 6, 7, 8, 9 with will instead of may, so we will be wanting receipts. The grant won't be awarded to an individual, we want a group or a few people to be taking responsibility, and that we will be asking them to return. So there's no deadline, there are applicants throughout the year, and obviously it's a new way of doing this, so we would have to monitor it fairly closely. The actual application form itself also needs a little bit of adjusting and redo that. To be perfectly honest, I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but if people want to go ahead with this, then I'll look at that and bring it back to the next meeting.
So, thank you.
I'll shut up now.
Thank you very much, Jane. Well, we've got a proposal from Jane. Have we got a second? Yeah.
Sorry, I thought we were going to have a discussion about it.
Well, yes, you can.
It was just that I know that one group has already been given a grant paper. I mean, when does this come in? When is this new grant?
It'll be for the next financial year, which is 2015-16, I mean.
Right.
So it's from 1st of April this year, yeah.
1st of April this year, and the other thing is,
We've spent up.
are we not limiting Oakham in Bloom? Are you saying that they will only get the £1,000 now?
Yeah, well, it will have to go across the board, yeah.
Surely Oakham and Bloom have a separate amount, don't they? I mean, are you talking about...
Sorry, that's what I thought.
Are you talking about the hanging baskets and things like that?
Oakham in Bloom group, not Oakham Town Council.
No, Oakham and Bloom,
Yeah.
hanging baskets.
We do fund Oakham in Blue, don't we?
They don't do hanging baskets.
I know they don't, but we fund hanging baskets for them. I'm not sure what you mean by...
Oakham in Bloom usually have about £2,000 grant for their projects. And one of their projects is going to be the roundabout Land's End Way, which will take some money.
Well, if we bring this in, it'll be £1,000 then, won't it? If we agree this.
It makes another 1,000.
I mean, I'm not saying that's absolutely set in stone,
well,
it's open for debate.
It is if it goes through.
Yeah.
But it says £1,000 per application. So could an organisation make 2 applications?
I don't think that's in the spirit of the...
No.
Alan.
Thank you. What I've heard tonight almost satisfies the only concern I had, which was how do we get it to go throughout the year? And this is one way of doing it, but it may minimise the amount that we can give to any individuals. An alternative that I had was that it could still be £2,000 per body that applies, but that we only allow, we give 2 tranches, I think that's the right word.
Yes.
£4,000 in June, which means it's the new councillors making the decision, not us, who gets it, and £4,000 in November. So a maximum of £2,000 each, and then we know those 2 dates, and it'll be a bit easier to administer. I'm not saying it's necessarily the right answer, it's just another way of achieving the same end of splitting it across the year.
I think that doesn't facilitate the flexibility of somebody in August coming to us and saying, and it's the flexibility we're trying. I mean, if that figure of £1,000 people feel is not, isn't right. I mean, I did originally start with 2,000 on that.
But we can always cut them down, but we can't always put them up.
Yeah. And you can change that to £2,000.
Any other
If
thoughts?
that's what people think is more applicable. The Oakham in Bloom is, I mean, what happens is we get the same people applying for the grants every year, and they get the same amount of money every year. So really, that's not a grant system, is it? That's it's almost a donation annual sponsorship. And although I am a great supporter of Oakham in Bloom, I'm also a great supporter of, the other, CAB and the others that always come to us for grants. But it's almost like an annual.
Yeah.
If it is £1,000, it seems to me that it gives an opportunity for 8 bodies to benefit rather than just possibly 4. Alf.
Yeah, I mean, at least 8. I mean, it doesn't mean to say that everybody that applies will get £1,000. I may not even apply for that. I think we've got to be a little circumspect on this, because I'm also concerned that we might have a mad rush at the start for the money before it runs out.
Yes.
And that's one of the problems we've got to be very careful about. I don't think I'd want to put on limitations that Alan is suggesting, because that then smacks of what we're trying to get away from. I mean, at the moment, applications by the 31st of March is what we're trying to get away from. So I think we need to be a little flexible and to be more circumspect about it, and to monitor as it goes through and leave it at that. I wouldn't like to put limitations on it. So.
I'd agree with that. I'll go with what Jane has done as her revised document this evening, but also have the flexibility that we should be able to review it and monitor it. At the end of the day, it's only 1 year, isn't it?
It's down to this council.
Yes.
Any other thoughts?
Personally feel that you are, like it's already been alluded to, that you're actually giving 8 people the chance rather than possibly more, or possibly more, which I think personally better.
We need
Right,
to advertise it obviously
Yeah.
very carefully and make sure people understand that it's, you know, what it's there for.
yeah, well, I think, well, yes, that's a good point, actually, advertising it. Right, we've got a proposer from Jane, and I think, John, did you say it? And that includes what Alf mentioned about flexibility.
Yeah.
Alright. So, all in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
I'll have a look at the application for you.
Right, we've got 1, 2, 3.
He was on it.
Can we have one meeting, please? Can we have one meeting, please?
Sorry. I'm listening to upstairs as well, you see, that's a big problem.
You'll have to tune in down here.
Right, Alison.
Right, what's there?
Makes any sense to me, I couldn't think.
It's a large, it's a large coverage, isn't it? It's a very big block, yeah.
Can you just have the site plan on that? Not the site plan, the other. Where is that picture?
It says 9 on the
Oh,
plan.
no, it's, sorry, it's
Yeah, that's all.
9.
So they're sticking a little bit on the side of the house, put a kitchen in them.
Yes.
Not the bathroom. Why has it got a bathroom in it?
Can we just go back to the area plan? Right.
And a kitchen in it.
Bathroom.
There's a kitchen extension.
There's a bath.
That hole's
It looked like a bath, didn't it?
Well, if it's a big sink.
Was it a big sink?
Belfast,
Okay,
isn't it?
we'll go with a big sink.
Get a baby in.
Well, it's not overlooking anybody, is
It's
it?
not actually, is it?
Can I just ask what number we're looking at?
Number
Number
9.
9.
It says number 8.
Yeah,
No,
that's
that's
right.
that's
Checked,
a
it's
typo.
number, it's number 9.
Thank you, that's why I said it. Number 9 is an odd number, if you see what I mean.
I don't see a problem with this, quite honestly.
No, I
don't.
It's
It's not overlooking anybody, it's
I
not,
propose acceptance.
it's not taking
I'll
away
second.
parking or anything
Right, we've
like
got a
that.
proposer, seconder, all in favour?
Yeah.
Abstain. Yeah, abstention.
Oh, yes, sorry, yes.
Give a maximizer.
Yeah, me too. Just the land between.
Barleythorpe Road and Burnley Parkway.
Yeah.
I spoke to the, as far as this is concerned, I actually did speak to the case officer, and he mentioned that it was a reduction in the number of units from the previous. Interesting reading Langham's Parish Council notes. They picked up on the fact that the number of garages is for one garage per property. Now, my understanding, talking to another case officer previously about this, is that they tend to go for 1.5. That is what they normally accept. Well, it's not 1.5. It's only one. Apparently one plot.
This is in Barleythorpe Parish,
Yes.
not in Oakham.
Yes.
So the site plan.
Retail unit blocks.
So what do you want outside plan?
Yeah, it's trying to figure out how to.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Has this been before us before?
It's an outline, as an outline plan, probably.
Yeah. I argued about the parking for the units.
Yes.
So they've reduced it down to get more parking in, is that what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know about that, but apparently if Langham are correct, the number of parking spaces per unit is 1
Per property, per
per
property.
property. Yeah.
Can I look at what the, I think it's these awful things that we saw before.
So these are new,
Renovations.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Let-
But the units are not.
I think they're the most,
three-storey places.
so
I
that's,
think they're the most
it's 2 sets.
totally out of character,
Ridiculous.
ridiculous things, personally. Give my opinion here.
My problem is with retail is that we've got retail on the high street that's not full. We're planning to build more.
I suppose the thinking behind this, whether it's right or wrong, I'm not saying, is that the units are for people living in that area.
Yeah, as I pointed out last time, it could be anything from a hairdresser,
Yeah.
rather than coming into town and trying to find a parking space.
In a way,
But I did argue the point that these retail units haven't got enough parking.
and that still seems to be the case.
Yeah.
So if we are going to refuse it, and I'm not trying to preempt it, if we are, we've got to have a good reason why we refuse it. Do you want to say anything here? No?
Why did we refuse it before? Lack of
Parking.
parking.
No, political parking.
So I'm not sure what the difference is now.
I'm not sure whether we made a comment about the aesthetics, because they're pretty awful. But they're not going to change that. I think the important thing is the problem is still parking.
If they're going to be retail units, like,
Let's face it, it might be a satellite post office.
Yeah. So
about
where
it,
do we go?
but you never know. You live in dreams.
Be a counter chamber.
This will be discussed tomorrow afternoon.
I find it amazing that they put retail
Can you
units in.
tell me what the difference is between the original application and this
Which
one?
we desperately need.
I can't know.
Well, it's a reserve matters, isn't it? So
Yes.
reserve matters is like material things.
If we refuse it, we've obviously got, or if we've obviously got to have sound planning
Well,
reasons not to do it, not just because we don't like the look of it.
We've got 18,
Although,
is that right, 18 apartments
Above retail.
above the retail. So my own personal view is you've got 18 spaces plus retail. I don't think there's enough there. That should be ground enough. And it's retail where we've got plenty of the retail available.
And there are
That
18
isn't
spaces.
ground.
I'm saying there's 18 spaces.
No, what I'm saying is that if there's 18 flats, you need a minimum of 18 spaces for those people. And people coming to use the retail outlets.
Okay. How many are there? How many spaces?
I didn't count how many were, but
If
so 18 spaces for
Yes.
residents plus
no, I don't think so.
space for the retail.
I don't think so.
And does the road facilitate short-term stopping to
Deliveries.
to go into the retail around?
This is where we are. I think to make a proper decision, we're at a big disadvantage, because when the county or the planning committee meet, they've got case officers there who are going to answer all these questions
And visit the site.
and visit the site. This information is not there for us, and yet we're
Well, in
expected
that
to.
case, sorry Chairman, couldn't it go then inadequate parking and not sufficient information on the whole site? Go on, Alan.
Could we look again at I'm not sure it's the site plan or the location plan, whichever one it is with the detail. Can we zoom in on it and see if we can see it?
The street plan.
I think it's the street plan, but
Site plan.
I think it's the site plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parking spaces are laid out, so they might be
Yeah.
beyond it.
No, they're not. You can't tell.
No, the bottom bar over.
There it is.
Well, they are.
Yeah,
There they are.
so those relate to the individual
That's
apartments,
the best
presumably.
way, isn't it?
I'm guessing so, yeah.
So we've got 18 parking
so
You've
spaces.
got 13 on this
one and two.
middle
It
bit.
says number 18, go up to 18.
Small
Well,
shops,
as well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They're all numbered.
They're not numbered in order, they go 10, 3, 11, 19, 14, 6.
Looks the largest number.
So,
And some of these are two-bed
20.
apartments as well, saying on this. They're one and two-bed
Where are the
apartments.
18 apartments?
Is the
under
actual,
that roof, under the big roof. I
is
think
the,
that's it.
is the limit of
Yeah.
the proposal on one of these, so we can see exactly which bit is in this particular plan? Is it going back to reading down
Doesn't
below?
make sense actually, it looks like a dark
I assume it's the colour bit
Which
below.
is, can you just tell me which, if that building at the top, this retail building,
I don't think that's part of
There's
the
three-
planning
It's
application.
not
The
there,
top
one
bit.
in red.
Yeah,
I think it's the
No,
bottom bit
that's
surrounding
not it,
green.
is it? There, that's it.
It's not
That's it,
That's
that's
it.
what that block
That's
Is
out.
that it?
Yeah, block eight.
Okay, right, okay, that makes more sense. I think it can't be something.
There's more than.
So it goes up to 38 parking slots.
So where's the road then, in front of it? There is no road.
So the road there, where it says no access, just where your hand is there.
Yeah.
Right there, it says no access, then further up the road it says no access again.
Okay,
You
so there's no road running along the front of the retail shops?
No, you'd have to pull off what they call service road or normal road, which might even be Wembley Road, who knows, into that parking zone, park up and go to the retail.
So that's it, isn't it?
Maybe Matthews Street, yeah. Dinner
So
Road.
it would just be. Well, if you can't, if you've got retail that A isn't visible from a road, B isn't accessible by a road, and is only there, like, nobody's going to go, are they?
There's an argument for having small retail units on large housing developments. When you look at the stores up off Lonsdale Way, the stores there which you run, the new co-op and the old Horseshoe pub, these little retail units do pop up and serve the small.
But they're
units.
visible, aren't they?
They are, but yeah, well this is going to be visible to the people that are there, aren't they? I mean, people down in Willow Crescent aren't going to travel up to the Horseshoe to get a loaf of bread and a pint of milk from Tesco's.
So where's the front of the shops looking at the trees?
I would say looking at that there, these give it up now, what you see? I think, right, this here is the shop frontage. That grey area and that zone there, that big zone, is like all walking area.
And probably the
So
other
people
side as well.
driving in and you've got parking. Yeah? So that's what it is. That there is the service yard, so vehicles come in here and deliver there. So all the deliveries come through the back door, pardon the expression, and yeah. And these green things are trees. There you go.
Chairman,
Thank you, councillor.
it does say retail unit blocks.
Yes, block A's, block B's.
There's going to be 3 blocks, retail blocks.
3.
There's going to be 18 apartments that are 1 and 2 beds, and there's 3 local centre retail units.
Where's the third one? MC2.
You can zoom
Oh,
out.
there's a
Block
block-
2 is obviously going to be a cafe, look, because there's chairs,
That's a bin store, that little one.
chairs and seats outside of it. It's going to be a Costa.
Cost of bomb.
Where's the third one? I'm not sitting, I can't see it.
What are these then?
That's
The shed.
that's close to the bin store. It's a vagrant.
I can't see the third one.
Well, we're going to make a decision on this.
It's a
Well,
it's a coloured area.
Zoom out, I might show it. See on that, it just shows the one, doesn't it?
On the,
What are they calling that L-shaped one? Two units.
Well, there's 2, isn't there? There's 2, isn't it? So. be honest, I'm struggling to come up with an absolute planning reason
To turn it down.
to turn it down. My personal thoughts is, I really do not like it, I don't think it fits, and I think it would just be,
At least it's in Barley.
end
At
up
the moment,
Yes, that's
as a sort of bit of an eyesore, but that's, my personal opinion isn't a planning opinion.
no, but it is reserved. I haven't got that paper with all the things on that reserve.
I don't think we can say there's insufficient parking, there seems to be plenty of parking.
Well, this is why I can't understand why Langham have picked up on it actually. Although I read the report.
They're not in a different plan.
Who knows? But I suggest then that we go along with approval. Do we want to make any remarks? Because it's not going to make any difference.
Does it make any difference? That's what it's-
No.
Well, we did make comment before, I think, that we didn't think
Yeah.
it was aesthetically pleasing or in fitting with the local environment, and I don't see why you can't reiterate what you said before.
But if you feel, there's no reason why we can't, but then if we're approving it, there's little point. Because it's not going to make any difference.
I think the concept station.
Yeah. So, can I have I think we've reached the stage where,
We can acknowledge the plan and the application.
yes.
I think that's as much as we can do.
You mean they're not recommend approval?
No, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying we acknowledge the plans. We not pass any comment on them, for or against.
Just recommend approval with no comments.
All that, yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Can I have a proposal then? Seconded?
I'll second that.
Not enthusiastic for this one.
Right. All in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Or
Against?
1, 2, 3, 4. That's two votes.
I don't think it's necessary.
No, it's not, you vote for it.
Okay.
But no, that's but it is probably going to be quite simple. I'm guessing that they're looking for a change of brick purely on availability, because this year is the same as last, where bricks continue to be on an extended lead time, and most of the merchants are buying from Germany at the moment. Some of the firms still haven't relit kilns that they shut down 4 or 5 years ago. So there's a lot of bricks being discontinued that they're not remaking. I would figure that when these plans were done was before the actual recession started, and a change of brick in the big scheme of things is not a major issue. And if county council have not got any objections, I don't know what the colour change is going to be, but I wouldn't see there being any issue with
This is
it.
Empingham.
Is it Empingham, is it?
It's Empingham.
We're discussing Empingham.
Which is the one that was on the thing.
That's the one that's had the,
That building's finished.
yeah, it's been built as
There you go.
exterior skin.
I propose approval in that respect.
It's a reserve
Is it
matter.
in Empingham?
Yeah, it's nothing to do with it.
It's not in there, is it?
No, it's land between Barley Park Lane. I must have put it on there.
Burley.
Burley, I mean, oh God, that was a bad day.
Must be the wrong diagram.
I don't know where it is.
Thank you.
Anywhere.
It's empty.
That says Whitman,
Yes, it's
Empingham.
over
Well,
Empingham.
let's go by the
Papers.
But if it's empty,
Here it is.
that's it.
Some rejection in Empingham.
I just don't look at it, just roofs on here. It's,
There is a proposed.
it just says advised by case officer to make reserve matters application to change brick type on some dwellings.
And is it Empingham?
It's not present.
Yeah, it's this land between Burley Park Way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is the one they sent.
That one there, that one there.
So that's the,
Land between Barleythorpe and the Oakham bypass area 4 and 5 within the Oakham North development.
Oh, that's the one you couldn't bring up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what the problem is then. Right, okay, so it's on the,
I couldn't get this one
no,
on my
that's
computer.
why then.
Oh, right, okay. Where is it?
But it'd be, Burley Park Way.
It's awful, isn't it?
And the bricks they're going to be using by the looks of it are going to be Hampson Village Gold Thatch, Hampson Arden Special Reserve, End Hall Brunswick Multi, Eden Hall Woolwich stock. I would say that out of all those bricks, I've not heard of any of it. I've only heard of the Hampson Village Gold. Yeah, well, we've got pictures. So the Eden Hall bricks I've never even heard of. So this would tend to say that it's just purely on supply and demand. Hampson bricks, Hampson are really struggling to supply bricks.
They're not navy blue or anything then? They're still
Pink
brick,
polka dot actually.
they're still bricks,
Yeah,
as opposed to...
the Hampson Village Golden Thatch is a buff coloured brick, which is very common to this area because, of course, of the yellow stone from the local area. The Hampson Arden Special Reserve is a darkish reddy brick, which is not too dissimilar to what sort of got there. It's just a brick at the end of the day.
Right. Is somebody prepared to propose?
Yes.
And seconder, please. All in favour?
Who seconded it?
Yeah. I'm in favour.
I'm abstaining. I don't understand.
Next.
Right, the next one
Vicarage
is an
Road.
outline.
Yes, in case anybody isn't aware, I'm sure perhaps you all are, but outline basically means there's no detail. It is purely and simply looking for permission in principle for the building to go ahead with its satisfaction. So there's no detail to
Oh, so complete, so on that plot of
that
land
plot.
Oh, yeah. I know. Not the plot.
That's all we've got to think about.
It's just opposite the exit from St Peter's Close. It's a sort of a dip. Yeah. Not lovely location. Lovely location.
is it?
Where is it on there?
There.
There.
That line
Got
there.
red.
That red bit.
Oh, that's right, is it?
So that's all we've got to do tonight is to approve our
Yeah.
approval.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favour?
I'm abstaining.
And the one then.
What are we doing?
You voted it, never mind. I'll abstain.
One step.
I'm abstaining.
Right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the evening meeting. 9 minutes past 8.
No.